How we doing, everybody? I'm Ron Swanson, and of course, we are live on the Shaun Attwood channel with Matt Cox to delve in to the Epstein files. Of course, Matt, you are not super versed, so we're kind of showcasing some stuff to you. And you were talking beforehand, and you know, I think your mind's going to be blown. But just tell us your initial response to what's been happening, even if it's nothing, even if you're skeptical. Hit us with your thoughts at the start of the show.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been skeptical, but listen, I'm skeptical about everything. Like when I grew up, if you believed there were UFOs, you were insane.
Yeah.
And then the Navy shows up with videos of UFOs. You know what I'm saying? And now,
yeah, I'm with you.
Now the Department of Defense or the Department of War, or whatever, is now they're saying, oh, okay, yeah, there are these things. We don't really know what they are. So I'm skeptical on this. I was skeptical on the suicide of Epstein. Not skeptical that it was a suicide. I was skeptical that they would be able to pull it off and get into his cell without being caught on the cameras or any cameras. There's so many cameras, and I figured the only way that was possible is if maybe his cellie had done something. I'm always very skeptical of someone saying, oh, there's an email that says that this politician or this person did this. And it's like, wait a minute, this is an unsubstantiated email that was randomly hasn't been verified. Like, that doesn't, me accusing you of something doesn't mean
I'm with you.
Something,
I'm with you.
Yeah. So that's why when I watch these things that come up, most of what I understand is based on TikTok saying, oh, Donald Trump did this, and it's for sure, or so and so did this, and it's like, okay, wait a minute. There's an email like that. Somebody called up and left a voicemail, and then gave a wrong phone number. Like, come on, man, that's not.
I'm with you. Okay, so why don't we go into this with the mindset of, I'm going to show you stuff that I believe doesn't leave you any room to question what they're talking about or what you're seeing. And then I'll ask you again at the end of the show, and we'll see where we're at. We've also got Paula M, who's going to come on and showcase a photograph of Meghan Markle and just tell you a little bit about the vastness of Epstein's connection with princesses. It's very bizarre. Okay, it's very bizarre. Well, the first one I'd like to show you is a conversation from Jeffrey Epstein with discussions with Woody Allen, okay? Paris with Woody Allen, sorry for the typos. For Les PDF convention. I think PDF is or pedophilia is the plural. I mean, that's quite damning, right? I mean, to say that sort of thing. And again, I'm not convincing you. I'm not, you're not
Woody Allen. Woody Allen married his daughter. I mean, right. He's not an upstanding citizen.
Right. I'm with you.
You're not.
I'm with you, but it's
here,
it's putting in perspective how people are so blown away and how there is fact to all this. I mean, this is the man formerly known as Prince Andrew standing over an unconscious body with their face redacted. Now, that is quite disturbing, and we already know what Prince Andrew's been up to, but it just batters home all of this. And the amount of young individuals in the redacted video files, it really is so mind-blowing and rage-inducing, and people are just not having it. Now, what's interesting, you don't have to listen to me waffle, Matt, because today Pam Bondi had to take the stand. And Pam Bondi was the woman who originally was dealing with the Epstein files. She had years to do it, and she was part of the disclosure of, hey, there's no organized anything. This is just a weird guy who is not transporting people and all the rest. And members of Congress, Mazie and Rowe, they had access to the unredacted files for a couple of days this week, and within 2 hours found evidence of transportation. And this is Pam Bondi on the stand. So we're just going to see her getting grilled for a minute because Matt is mind blown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Behind me, I have 3 documents from the DOJ production that are emblematic of the massive failure of the DOJ to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. To my right is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact. a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking. Co-conspirators. Fully redacted.
Fully redacted.
And
I mean, just let that sink in, Matt. We've got DOJ documents where they're headed as child transportation, and they're redacted all of the people that are connected with it. What do you think of that?
I mean, obviously it's either, a mistake, or I would hate to think that it would have been done on purpose. You mean, no, I'm talking about the list of the victims.
Co-conspirators.
Well, I'm thinking the victims. So you're saying the co-conspirators.
Yeah,
this list. Co-conspirators, why weren't they indicted?
Well, this is the question. This is the question, Matt, because why were they redacted when they knew that they were a list of individuals that were potentially involved? This is the madness of it all.
Right. I'm wondering if the document wasn't mislabeled as these guys being co-conspirators, or because co-conspirators would mean that they were indicted in some way or they were linked to him in some way. Like, where's the evidence that it was linked? Is that
this is where we'll continue on. And listen, I'm hitting you with the administration facts here because I think it's easier than hitting you with all the horrors just right now.
By the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI. And it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document?
It's incredibly damning, Matt, right? It looks like there is a grand conspiracy to cover up a grand conspiracy because we're talking about lists that have been put together that point towards evildoers in the abuse of children. And the DOJ has willingly redacted all of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Why would, if you were the criminal overlord, you'd be doing that to protect your friends? I mean, that's the vibe I get from it. What do you think?
I mean, listen, I think that,
it's a lot.
I'm thinking that it would have to go deeper than even just in general politicians in general. Does that make sense? Like it's obvious that it's not one party or the other, because Biden had these things for 4 years, they didn't do anything with it. Trump's had it. He's releasing the documents. But then it also looks like maybe, it looks like they're possibly covering it up. And look, I've in the last few days, I've looked over, the documents. I've watched several videos, and and I'm sure you're going to get to it, but it's obvious that it's really interesting the way they talk about regular people.
Right.
Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah.
like
Well,
they're little people, like they don't matter, right?
Well, let me make it simpler and worse for you. Okay. So forget about two political parties and imagine a web that spans multiple royals, almost all of the major businesses and financiers, music, movies, all of it. It is beyond comprehension. If we were to Thanos snap everyone who was guilty of something, even if it's facilitating or looking the other way, I think we would wake up with a huge chunk of what we know as the normal world gone. It is devastatingly terrifying, Matt, how widespread this man's connection was, from everything from modeling to life prolonging drugs research to freaking there's time travel mentioned in this, dude. Like, it's so beyond the rationale. He was covering everything, and his fingers were in all the pies. Now, there's massive insider trading allegations as well as to how these people make their millions and their billions.
Right.
And, you know, that's been laid out as well.
I mean, he's obviously had, I mean, it certainly appears that he at least alludes to in a lot of the emails that he has information on people. He doesn't really blatantly say it, but he alludes to, like, I have a lot of secrets on you, that sort of thing, right? Like, I've helped you a lot. I've kept a lot of your secrets, or I have a lot of your secrets. Like, he's alluded to a lot of things too. So he's garnering favor with very influential, you know, powerful people. So I mean, that's pretty obvious that's at the very least. At the very least, he's certainly making an attempt. Even if you couldn't prove it, he's certainly making an attempt to have influence over, you know, I don't know, what would you call it? The aristocracy? Would you call it?
How about I set a scene for you, Matt? Right? What if I was to tell you that I believe that this man's responsible for hand choosing the women that princes end up with, and we've got a trail of them that exist in right now, you know, Norway, the UK. But when we look into Norway, the princess there, her ex-husband was an international substance transporter and known massive gangster. She comes off like a fangirl in her emails to Epstein. It's wild. And when you see somebody who's ends up potentially being a queen and a princess, that is major control. And I think to myself, if you've got someone in government and something happens, the royals from that country don't help out. But if you've got someone in the royals and something happens to them, the government tends to run to help them. It's a very smart tool to have in place. I mean, it's evil genius stuff, Matt. I mean, if this was a movie, you'd be like, this is too far-fetched. And this is before we get to any of the really horrific, insane stuff. It's the reaching connections.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that these guys are thinking on a different level, right? Like, obviously Epstein, he has some issues. Like, I mean, he's got some issues with the massage. Obviously, the young girls. Is he running a full-blown, you know, pedophile ring? I don't know, but he's definitely trying to get these. He is definitely trying to get high-powered individuals into compromising positions so that he has something over their head, so that he has some kind of influence over them. What is the overall goal? I don't know. Is it, you know, I've heard the CIA connection. You know, I've heard that, you know, that what he's trying to kind of blackmail them. You know, how did he come up with all this money? Why are these guys paying $150 million for tax advice that you could get on the internet? You know, so it's obviously odd. But I mean, you know, you get to that level, like the way these guys think, and like you said, kind of like the octopus or the tentacles that are out there. Yeah, they're thinking on. Let's face it. If you didn't have to worry about paying your rent or your mortgage, your car payment, you know, you had an inexhaustible amount of money. You know, after a decade or two, you'd start thinking in a much different way, right? Like, if you gave me, you know, $8 billion, you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to think
bang any kids. That's what you're not going to do.
Well,
Matt.
that I'm not going to do that, but I'm also, you know what I'm also not going to do? And by the way, this is an Elon Musk thing. And I like Elon Musk. I like what he's doing as far as, SpaceX and the whole thing. But if you gave me $8 billion, I'm not going to think, you know what I want to do? I want to build a fleet of starships and I want to colonize Mars. Like, he's clearly thinking in a different way than the normal people. So, Epstein in that same venue is thinking on a level that you and I would probably never get to.
Well, here's the thing, Matt. I agree with you when it comes to ambition and drive. This man was the most motivated individual I have ever researched in my life, Epstein. He was connected to everything and everyone. The drive for him, everything that's coming out in the files, that's his business, that's his work. I believe what drove him was the knowing that he would never be accepted into the larger families, the Rothschilds and all this. They seen him as so beneath them. And I think that's what drove him. But listen, take my word. Have you ever heard of anyone in these upper echelons talk about jerky? Right? Because we're going to talk about that for a minute. Jerky. Yeah, beef jerky. Because in the emails, there's a lot of discussions about beef jerky. Can we walk over the beef jerky and prepare the jerky?
Oh, these like code words, like cheese pizza.
Yeah, exactly. So the internet and everyone's sort of come to the conclusion that they're butchering individuals, and there is a global satanic, child unaliving, cannibalistic cabal. That's where the internet's ended up, bro.
So where's the actual? Where's the actual
okay, I'm going to hit you with a belter here. Okay, right. Because this is my pitch to get you to just sort of understand the occult side of this. So I've just searched the word coven in the Epstein files, and when you go into the emails, you have a discussion of coming to the island and preparing jerky. And then they talk about the word coven, and a coven is a group of witches. There's 13.
Yeah.
Epstein had a large sundial with 13 seats around it. And they talk about preparing the jerky on the island because it has a lot of water as opposed to at the ranch. And I don't understand why they're discussing preparing. Why would any millionaire care about preparing jerky? That's the first thing, right?
Right.
Why is the word coven used? I'm trying to pull up the email for you, Matt, so you know, I'm just not taking my word for it. Because it doesn't. There you go. Here we go. I'll show you now, mate. Here we go. I will come to teach jerky class. We also coven chocolate cream pie. And then he talks about his wages, right? But this is a chef from a restaurant called Cooks and Cannibals that works with Jeffrey Epstein just on his jerky. There's not a single reported photograph of Epstein eating jerky anywhere. None. And have you ever heard of people keeping jerky in the freezer? Because I haven't.
No, you don't have to. That's the whole purpose of it,
right? So they talk about 6 pounds of jerky that is in Epstein's freezer that should cater to everyone coming to the island this time round. Bro, that's people steaks. That's people steaks, Matt. Tell me that's not people steaks.
I think it's a leap, but I hear you.
Well,
what other than that loose kind of
trying
to tie this into people steaks.
That's people steaks, bro.
So to what end is he gathering all of this information and in this influence on people? Like, well, what do you think his goal is?
Total control, and to prioritize his lineage into royal blood. Okay. Do you want to hear the full crazy end game if he could have his way? Yeah. I think his goal was to have as many royal babies as possible nip forward into the future when they're grown up, rub the Rothschilds and the evil bloodline families' faces in the fact that now he has royal blood and can be accepted into these echelons. And he will then feel like his dream has been completed because he's the bottom of the ladder. If we can see these people, they're the bottom of this evil ladder, Matt. And I think that was his crazy plan. I think that was his crazy, mad Epstein plan.
But he's got all these people that are like, he should have been a pariah, but he doesn't seem to have been a pariah. Like he's got all these super wealthy, influential people that are coming to the island, knowing that he had been arrested, knowing he's right. He's a I don't know if you're worried about
PDF file. PDF
file.
Yeah. 100%.
I mean, you are convicted. You pled guilty. I mean, I get it. You just got a sweetheart deal, and he's trying to kind of revamp. I know that he was trying to revamp his image, but how are you going to bounce back from that?
Well, he had a full team that he spoke with in his emails about possibly starting up a YouTube thing and doing vlogs and all of this to take away the monster impression. But you've got to remember, this is a layered business. So the people that are into children, if you're not into kids, you're not going to know about the kid, the people that are there with the kids. You know what I'm saying? Because people talk. So he's going to cater to anyone's indulgence. And that is something I think when it comes to the rich and powerful, we overlook is how risky it is to sort of indulge in something without someone talking about it as someone who's famous. So maybe there is that allure from so many people to work with this guy because he had them all, bro. He had them all. It's bonkers. It really, really is, because when we look at the Trump administration and the Biden administration doing nothing about these files and everything being redacted and 5 years of Pam Bondi saying this and that, it wasn't until laws were passed and it was forced out of Trump's office. Do you think that that's the bigger story in your mind as to why everything's been handled so suspiciously?
Yeah, it's extremely odd. Why not just release these? And look, I get it. Let's say one of the reasons, of course, it's floating out there is that he was some kind of an agent or working with the Mossad, or he's working with the CIA, or whoever, some organization to garner information or possibly get people in compromising positions so that he can use them, use their influence or for whatever reason for these nefarious agencies, let's say. I mean, that's out there, and so as a result of that, it's like, okay, well now if you said, hey, Matt, that's actually true, and he was an actual asset, he was getting tons of information, we had tons of compromised information that he obtained for us that we utilized, and now these people, now that the public want to see these documents, and throughout all of these documents is proof that this is what we were doing, and we allowed him to continue to behave in the manner that he was behaving because he was an asset. It's going to make the United States, or it's going to make Israel look really bad. We'd rather go ahead and never release these documents. Okay, if that was the case, and I was in the government, and I know this is not going to be a popular opinion, but I would say I get it. Like, let's shut this down. We don't want the public to know that we allowed this to continue. We didn't lock him up for 10 or 15 years like he probably should have gone to prison for. Instead, we gave him a sweetheart deal, and we allowed him to continue to behave this way. And then he continued continued on with this behavior. And, so, what? Let's go ahead. You're right. Let's not release this because it's going to make this look bad or make us look bad. Or people are going to know that he got this information, and that's why this senator voted this way and this congressman voted this way and that's why Israel did this, which was against their better judgment, but they did it anyway because we had compromising information that Epstein had collected for us. Like, if that was the case, then you go, okay, I get it. Let's shut this down. Make the documents, seal them, don't release them for 50 years. That way everybody's dead by then. And then let's move on. Yeah, I get it. That makes sense to me. But that doesn't seem to be what's happening, because now they're releasing the documents. Granted, it's, 3.5 million pages. There's still another like 3 million left, or 1,500 left, or something along those lines. So it seems like they are releasing them in batches. I think they're probably scared too. It's a lot of documents to go through, and they have multiple teams working on the redactions. Because
Matt, let me ask you something. Let me ask you: is your
Yeah.
freaking head spinning? Is your head freaking spinning with this? Is it like? Do you feel like you're in a boxing ring, right? And you're swinging, hoping that you can find something in your own mind that settles down what you really feel inside could be brewing here. Because I think we'd all like this to just disappear. But unfortunately, so many of us have been talking about this for so long. So many people have been ridiculed, lost their jobs, their lives have been affected by trying to push the narrative that there is a global group of individuals preying on children. It's not just children. It's models, it's men, it's women, it's vulnerable individuals, it's women that have their babies taken from them. There's emails, horror, I mean, just horrific testimonies and discussions about people's babies being taken. And
when I haven't heard any babies being taken, but I'm just thinking of what the official documents are that are being released.
I'm only discussing the official documents.
So there's people there's official documents from people that 302s where they're saying that their children were taken. I mean,
yeah. So there was multiple interviews with survivors of abuse, and their testimonies were taken. That is within these files from 2019. Now, if you just bear with me 1 second, I will bolster my point here. 1 second, mate. But everything's crashing now, of course. But when Paula comes and joins us, it's going to be fascinating when you look at the guy at the end here, Ron Burkle. In this photo, you've got Epstein, Bill Clinton, and Ron Burkle. This is the guy that owns Soho House, right? And at the end of last year, he done a business deal for over $2 billion just to re-privatize all of Soho House. And Soho House is at the center of all the yacht girls and royal connections with this. And it's all very, very sus. Now, 1 second. 1 second, bro. Here are a few taken a week after her baby was born. Here you go. Now, this isn't the one I was talking about, but there's so many references to people having babies that are connected and nameless within these files. And I know you're thinking to yourself, this has to just be TikTok madness, right?
Yeah.
But bro, it is not just TikTok madness. And the files are all laid out for people to go and see and get through all of this. And I think you're doing yourself a disservice for not sitting down for a weekend and looking through all of the top collected groups of files with all the links so you can double check and really get your head around this, because this being too large for people to look away for isn't good enough when it comes to the level of abuse that's taking place. You know?
I'm probably not going to look through the files. It's 3.5 million files.
No, there's collections that have been put together that, you know, if someone's trying to prove a point about something, they'll stack them all together. I'm going to send you some stuff, bro. I want to make sure some stuff sent over to you, because you will not believe it. Now, we're going to go back to the video that we were playing, because it continues on with what's been happening in the government side. And let's see.
You have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times. I
already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
He was,
Mr. Chairman.
This isn't how this works.
Can I have my time? Mr. Chairman.
Maisie's guy is raging at what he has found, Matt. Like he is, in 2 hours, he found evidence to bring 6 people in for questioning. And Pam Bondi, this blonde lady here that he's talking to, had years and couldn't find nothing.
For answer, the time belongs to the gentleman from.
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So
Yes.
I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman,
Because I
may I
have
give
another
my answer
question.
on that?
If-
It's
Here's
a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer
Yeah,
on that.
we'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his
Chairman,
next question.
it's my time.
Within 40
Chairman.
minutes, you asked me a question.
You can
Within
give me-
40 minutes,
You'll do it. You'll get there, Matt.
Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes
You
of
have-
me catching you red-handed.
You see how they're twisted it all?
Yeah.
And I think this side is the side you should delve into, Matt, because there is some slippery eels in this, dude, that they shouldn't be getting away with this, you know? And it's testament to when individuals let it get to this level of government, when it's normal dudes like Maisie and Roe who are looking into this, because they're looking into it and are standing with the victims. And it just doesn't seem that that's what's happened by either administration who's handled this.
Right.
Which you've then got to question why. You know?
I have a question. Have you seen the
Yes.
photos of that appear to be a guy that looks like Epstein in Israel?
Yeah, I'll pull those up for you.
That's nuts, bro.
because-
Like, I get it. It may just be a guy that looks a lot like him. It may just be AI. Maybe somebody is playing and they put those photos out there, but boy, they look.
Well, do you know what's interesting? It's the ear. Someone done an ear analogy, and the ear was super similar. A lot of them people are calling it out as fake, all the rest of it. But listen, there was a guard on duty who, hours after Epstein was allegedly unalived, posted on 4chan about how a van turned up and it never signed in, and they took Epstein out of his cell. And there was this whole confession that took place. And then it was traced to the individual who worked at the facility. And I mean, that's an eyewitness account of everything not going how it should have done. And then in the Epstein files, his date of his time and day of death is the wrong date. Like, it's just this landslide of questionable everything. It really is. And I know it's a lot, but when it comes to the political side that have handled this, until you add conspiracy to it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to withhold names of potential international child transporters. It doesn't make sense to defend political individuals or royals or people of influence or businessmen around the world who've abused anyone. It doesn't make sense. You know?
Then what is it? What does make sense?
What makes sense is everybody has got some sort of dirt on their hands. You might be someone who doesn't do anything illegal with minors, but you might like crazy Russian model parties. That could be a bit embarrassing, right? So you try and hide that up. There's a lot of reasons and a lot of blackmail. There's also the fact that it would be very easy to get intoxicated and for someone like Epstein to slip in 15-year-old that looks 19 for 5 minutes, take a couple of photographs of what's going on, and then remove them, and now you're done. You're in his pocket, you know? So I wonder how many people fell into a web. I wonder how many people are like-minded monsters. But everyone should be laid bare in this, because...
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that Epstein is deceased?
Well, it would depend on the theory of discussion. So I'll give you, if I was to think he was alive,
Right.
Why would he be alive? That's the real question. Who's kept him alive and removed him? Because there's a theory that I have that this is like the end game, like promotion is unaliving. The world thinks you're gone. New face, new identity, enjoy your wealth, enjoy being the evil criminal. That could be a thing. But bro, I don't know. I think it's easy. It makes more sense for him not to be alive. from the criminal enterprise situation. It really,
Okay.
really does, in my
Then
opinion.
I have another question then.
Yeah.
Real quick. And I see Paula down there.
Yeah.
My other question to you is, if he was so overwhelmingly powerful, right? Like he had so much influence, he was able to, like, I understand he got that sweetheart deal, but if you had enough influence, why did he get charged at all? Like, and if he could really, like, if you're talking about him killing people and doing this and doing that, and you're talking about beef jerky and all this other stuff. Well, human jerky. You're talking about all this other, which sounds like insanity. Like, if he's willing to kill people, then why didn't he just kill the witnesses and not get charged at all? Like, why? And certainly, why get charged the second time? Like, if you're that powerful, why can't you stop that?
Well, sometimes it's interesting you bring that, because so many serial killers get caught because a brake light's out and the body is in the back of the boot. Sometimes there's just a perfect storm of circumstance that leads to a man like that toppling.
Yeah, the fly in the ointment, right? Something you just couldn't account for. Yeah,
but I think where the power is in this situation is the $90 million Powerball winnings that he had the day that he was sent to prison. So the day that he started his sentence, one of his companies won $90 million from a Mexican lottery, and he didn't really serve a lot of time. Right, his sentence was ridiculous. So I believe that was the protection. It was a case of, we can wind this down to it just being one girl. She's not going to let it go any further. We're not going to look for any more witnesses. You've got to take this one on the chin, because of the circumstances of the case. That's what I would think. Because there's always going to be a perfect storm that can get thrown into this. A lawyer that's not corrupt, a witness that gets enough evidence to bring it to court out of the thousands of victims.
Okay.
So, but now,
sorry.
this is Paula. This is Matt.
Matt.
And
hi, Paula.
Paula is a very, very, very smart lady when it comes to all royals and connections. And I showed you that image of Ron Burkle and Bill Clinton and Epstein. And the connection to all of these royal families, Matt, is the next thing I want to kind of present with you with Paula. Because powerful people who lurk in the dark like this, and the influence that they're trying to have, is one of the things that Epstein pursues 100%. And Paula, I'll bring up the image for you, and you can just sort of introduce yourself to Matt.
Hi, Matt. I just wanted to say, when that is a very good question. And I actually thought about it. And sometimes it comes down to being reckless, when you go for so long without being caught, right? You become reckless, and
you become emboldened, right? Brazen. You start thinking you get away with anything, and then you slip up.
And I think that I don't think that Epstein was that important. I think there are other people who are much more important than him that he was serving. And when he started to become problematic, I think that they turned on him, to tell you the truth, because people like him don't just get caught. And I think he caught a break the first time. And then because he thought that he got away with it so easily, because it was, he got away with that. He figured, that only, in my very humble opinion, makes them think that, okay, they caught me, and, I only did a year probation or outside of jail, nothing really happened. So I think that plays in the heads of these people that they can get away with anything, because that was nothing what he got in 2003.
Well, I mean, look at the way they handled Prince Andrew as well.
Oh, yeah.
It was insane. So this image here, I'm sorry, it's got text and stuff all over it. Paula can.
I have a better image if you want it, Ron.
But this is going to be one of those images that's going to be discussed for years, Matt. And I'm going to bring up Paula's one. Here you go. So Paula, take us through this, and who is on this yacht, and why is so significant?
Well, this is from right to left. You have Heather Durack. pretty much everybody is very much linked to Soho House, to Ron Burkle, right? Heather Dorak, Meghan Markle, who's currently married to Prince Harry, Berita Litt, Misha Nunu, who is, I don't know, I guess a designer who married somebody also very wealthy. I think she's going through divorce. Ariel Charnas and Karina Shuliak, who is, I don't know, not the sole heir of Epstein, but almost. And this is in August 2016. You know, it's very telling how all these girls are embedded in the Soho House life and married very powerful men. And you got to wonder who's taking the pictures.
So you're looking at Epstein's girlfriend and Meghan Markle on a yacht together. And this is the first princess. So all of the theories that Paula's had about Ron Burkle's connection to Soho House, expanding to Epstein Island, that's all been proven in the document dump from the DOJ with the photo of Ron Burkle, Bill Clinton. You have to, we cannot deny this man's obsession with the royals, because we have the British royal family with Andrew and with Meghan. We now have the connection with the Norwegian princess.
Oh, yeah.
The is it Sweden or Switzerland? I can't remember which one.
Oh, that's with Sweden, also with Princess Sophia, who actually
Princess Sophia
statement was saying,
I
knew him briefly. That is BS. She flew with him to South Africa.
Yeah, and then you've got all of the Arab Emirates and Dubai and all that side of the world too being catered for, and many of them were just named and were redacted the other day. It's royals, it's business, it's politics, it's celebrities, it's all of it. And what does it all mean, Matt? Like,
I mean, that's what I'm waiting for you to tell me. Like, these are rich people that meet and spend time with rich people. Of course, if you're a well-off woman who's attractive and you're on these yachts and you're on the boats and I mean, you're on the yachts and you're on the island and you're hobnobbing with these people, like, you're probably going to end up marrying some
I'm with you.
Guy. I don't.
How likely are you, though, to have had several social events with Epstein and discussed crazy things like, should I give my son a poster with topless women in it for his birthday, discussing that, and then becoming a princess? Those are the ones where the alarm bells go off. And I wish it was all just coincidental, you know, we could just wipe it all away. But Epstein is directly communicating with multiple princesses. Like, there has to be a larger picture to what all that means. And again, I don't know what it is. I wish I did know. Hopefully it'll become more clear. But Paula, Paula.
I can tell you, because I used to work in diplomacy and stuff like that, that royals have huge, far greater reach than any politician or celebrity may have. They enter into places where others don't. And I do believe that Epstein, that is, and the people who were enabling him, they wanted to infiltrate royal families because, again, royal families have access to incredible people. I mean, and I believe that Meghan Markle, Misha Nunu, Sophia of Sweden, Mette-Marit of Norway, they're all honeypots. They all come and then they put these women in those families and they dirty the rest of the royals. Meghan Markle brought Prince Harry to Canoan Island, and I'm doing a deep dive on that, and it's insane what's going on there.
Wouldn't it be insane if the only ones that get off scot-free within the Epstein conspiracy and the British royals was Meghan and Harry, and them jumping ship, in my opinion, would be foresight of what was coming, or what could have been released to destroy the royals.
Also, Matthew, people, and I've said this before, the police will think a billion times before they touch or investigate a royal. I mean, even now with everything that's come out, they're still thinking about maybe charging Andrew, because the reputational damage is so great that they need to be 1 billion% right on what they do. So a lot of people like Epstein, they hide behind that cloak of safety that they know we're going to look the other way. We're going to look the other way.
Well, I think that's true of just wealthy people in general too, you know, so you don't, you know, they're going to arrest someone like, you know, you or me, or Ron way before they're going to arrest somebody who can actually fight, you know, because the U.S. Attorney's Office or the Crown has an inexhaustible budget and lawyers. And what am I going to fight with? What I'm going to get I know a guy, he's going to give me for 25 grand. He's going to try and fight the U.S. government for me. Like, come on,
do you think then you get the legal system in America you can afford? Do you think that's the bigger issue here as well?
That you can afford to fight?
No, you get the version of the legal system in America that you can afford. So if you're a billionaire, you can afford it. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Listen, you're a poor kid from the hood. You get a public defender who's just trying to get you to plead guilty and go to jail. Like he doesn't want to go up against the U.S. Attorney's office or a state's district attorney. Like he got paid $12,000 or $6,000 to take on your case, and it should have been given $200,000 to try and compete. He can't compete with that. He can't compete with 4 U.S. attorneys and an unlimited budget. Come on. Of course, he's going to try and convince you, man, just take a deal, bro, because you can't go to trial. I was paid $12,500 to mount a defense. You're done. Like I used that up in the first 3 months. That's gone.
Yeah.
And last question, Paula, and I'll let you throw some questions too. What's your take on people who've been proven to lie about communications now? So, for example, the easy one is Prince Andrew. He lied to the BBC about when he stopped communicating, and now we can see that he's at unconscious girl on the floor parties with Epstein. Do you think those individuals where there's a clear deception, a clear link, and there's an unconscious girl on the floor, obviously, do you think those are the ones we should be seeing ramped up to get justice for these victims? Or do you still think that there's not enough convincing that this was a large operation?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
It's for you,
yeah, it was for you, Matt.
No, it was for me.
Yeah, that was for you, bro. Yeah, sorry, bro. Yeah,
I thought you were asking her.
Yeah, no, I beg your pardon. I beg your
what was
pardon.
the question again?
I'm sorry. So, listen, I'll throw another one at you. Matt. Okay, I'm having a difficult day.
He forgot again.
Yeah, you're 100%. My ADHD just deletes stuff. So, do you think the individuals who there's so much public evidence, like the man formerly known as Prince Andrew, the new evidence within the files, the photographs, because he lied in his interview to the BBC about when he stopped talking to Epstein? Do you think there's more weight behind the individuals who've shown insincerity and have images like the one I showed you of Andrew peering over that unconscious girl? Do you think those are the ones that should be guaranteed brought in for questioning?
I mean, I wasn't he already brought into question? I mean, what additional photos or evidence has shown up that wasn't there already evidence that was thrown at him and he was stripped of his title? And
no, he wasn't stripped of his title until last year, round about
October.
Yeah, when everything started to rumble about the Epstein files, it was as if the king was told, this is what's coming, you better deal with him now. Stripped of his title, and then what came out, photographs of him in Epstein's house years after he said he wasn't there, luring over an unconscious girl. Like, how do you, how?
How do you force that? I don't know what the laws are in England, right, or the UK. So I don't know. I know that sexual offensive laws, they range, but like in Florida, let's say it's, I think what it's like 3 to 8 years, depending on the actual offense, right? Point. Is it and then what can you prove? You got a photograph of me. It's already been found out that he was there. His argument is, of course, well, they're like, okay, you blatantly lied. We know you were there. You said you weren't there. You were there. Right. Yeah. Okay. You're right. I lied because I was trying to distance myself. And all of these guys across the board, when asked about Epstein and their relationships, have all been like, I bumped into him in a party once. I think there might be a photograph of me where somebody said, hey, you want to take a picture with this guy? I didn't really know who he was. Like, they're all trying to backpedal. Then, of course, it comes out.
Of course.
No, there's 65 emails between the two of you. And you guys went to Germany together and,
Hung out.
Like, it was like, well, what's happening here? Like,
Yeah.
this is not true at all. So I understand they're all backpedaling, but you have to look at it like this. One, they're all trying to backpedal, hoping nothing comes out. They're married.
Mhm.
They have people that look up to them. They don't want to, which of course I think it's a mistake. Like I'm big on leaning in immediately, right? Like in my own case, when I just give you a quick example, I don't know how long we're going, but in my own case, when I was locked up in federal prison, and there were other guys that were similar to me, right? Like con men. And I can tell you right now, every con man I ever knew, every fraudster, scammer, whatever you want to call them, all of them were in there, like, because I'll give you an example. One time I'd stolen someone's identity, and then I legally had the guy's name changed. Yeah, don't judge me, Paula. There was
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, how do you do it? I like to do it, teacher.
So, and then I got a driver's license in his name. I got a passport in his name. I traveled under the assumed or the name that I had it changed. Like I went to a lawyer. You paid $1,500, changed his name because that he thought I was this guy. So, but because people knew that, about me, they would come up to me in prison, and other con men would say, "Bro, how hard was it to change your name or change that guy's name?"
I'm wondering the same.
Yeah, I was like, it was a joke. You pay a lawyer, you have to have a reason. I explained the whole thing, and they were like, okay. And then because all of them were like, they were trying to figure out how to change their name, how to bury all of the articles about them on the internet, how can I get out?
Billionaires don't have that luxury. That's the thing, right? The more you're in the public eye.
What I'm saying is, in my case,
yeah,
I leaned into it. Like in my case, I was like, I'm not going to get out and try and hide from what I did. I'm going to lean into it. I'm going to say, yes, I'm a con man. I, conned multiple banks out of, tens of millions of dollars.
You owned up to it.
Right. Nobody does that. Okay. It just didn't happen. Like it's just these guys, of course, they're also narcissistic. They don't want to have to admit that they did anything wrong. So I can understand, I can understand a royal leaning backwards and saying, hey, I didn't know. I never went there. I might have talked to him at a party. I get that. But I also think that there's only so much you can prove or push. And I also think that in the United States, there's a statute of limitations. Like how much can you can go to him and say, well, we want to talk to you. Okay, well, statute of limitations is up. I could go in at this point and admit to everything, and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
so
it's interesting.
What is that in the UK? Is there a statute of limitations?
Yeah, and then you have to ask yourself, how many of those statute of limitations ran out when the files were held back so long?
Of course. Why?
Interesting.
That has always made me think, why are they stalling?
Right.
Like, that makes that, or if it was national security, like we talked about, I get that. Or if it's like, no, we're holding back so that even if it comes out, these people don't have to go to prison.
Yeah.
But also these victims, why aren't the victims have been spoken to? Like, why haven't the victims come out and said, hey, this person and that person and that
fear, control, and they have for years.
They did, and they were dismissed. They didn't.
And that's the thing.
No charges pressed at all.
Okay, now this is against who specifically we're talking about that they've come out.
There's been multiple survivors who've come forward with their evidence, proven that they were there, told their stories, but no one's doing anything up until now. Matt, this is the craziness of the scale of how many people have been screaming for justice, and nothing's happened until the force of these files to be released. And it is disgusting when you realize the magnitude of it all, because like we all know Virginia Giuffre, but there's another 1,000 of her, and it's shocking. It's shocking, and it's soul destroying how little has been done till now, and what's been done till now has been done in such a suspicious manner. Will justice ever be seen is really the point.
Well, look at Andrew. Now that Matthew's talking about changing or using other names. For example, Prince Andrew allegedly used Andrew Inverness
Mhm.
to start to be partner in one with this Johan Elias billionaire, and
So they didn't really know he was Prince Andrew. They didn't really know
well,
who he was.
his name is Andrew Inverness, and Inverness is
Yeah.
one of his titles. And
Yeah.
he had the exactly same date of birth and stuff like that. Princess Beatrice literally advised her mother that when Fergie spoke out against Epstein, or not spoke out, how to apologize to him publicly because he had done his penance
Mhm.
already.
Crazy.
Yes, I did my video today with Lauren about it, and
Yeah.
it's like how Beatrice was literally advising her mother how to take it back.
Yeah, Matt, that is the ex-wife and children of Prince Andrew that she's discussing here, being proven to be having further discussions, evidence that Andrew's wife had been, having adult relations and was obsessed with Epstein. It's so much to try and take in, Matt.
Prince Andrew's wife was having sexual relations
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
She
with
offered
Epstein.
to marry. She asked Jeffrey to marry her, and then
Yeah.
she called him he's like the brother he never had. But then you had Beatrice, because Beatrice, Fergie, when the emails came out, she apologized, right?
Yeah.
And then new emails just dropped that Princess Beatrice helped advise Sarah Ferguson on how to publicly backtrack when the former Duchess of York upset because Epstein was upset by calling him a PDF.
Yeah.
And Sarah Ferguson said that her eldest daughter, then 22, agreed that it was important to brief the press that Epstein had done his penance in prison for soliciting sex from girls as young as 14. I mean,
Yeah.
and she called them prostitutes. And I mean, they're children. Children are not prostitutes.
I just want to let the chat know as well. Matt and I were originally having a different conversation today, and he agreed to come on and have a chat about the Epstein files. And he has no knowledge. Like the man's been writing a book for like the last freaking God knows how long. So he's not coming in as an expert. He's not coming in as a denier. No. He's coming in as a regular dude to hear what we've discovered and kind of process it a little bit, because it is a lot. And unless you're staring into the void, you don't know what's real and what's not. And of course, you nailed it at the start of this. Is it all just TikTok madness? Because it's easy to write it off as that, right? It's comforting to go, oh, it's TikTok madness. It is. But the sad and shocking thing is, if you were to go and pick an Epstein subject out of a hat and focused in on it for a day, you would be mortified and shocked and disgusted at the evidence that you find for this grand scheme, Matt. And
it's not that I'm not, it's not that I don't know, in anything at this point. Because like I said, I did kind of look into it, right, for like a day or day and a half. And I've seen little bits and pieces. I'm just extremely skeptical in general. And then I'm very curious to know, like, there's everybody talking about these conspiracies, but what is the ultimate goal? Like, it's a conspiracy to what end? That's what I'm curious. Like, nobody ever seems to say, if it's just influence, okay, well, is he deceased? Did he get the influence? Is he Spectre? Is there a huge organization that they're all meeting? I mean, what's happening?
Well, for Epstein, I can tell you that at least in Norway is an incredibly wealthy country. I lived in Norway for many years. I can tell you that diplomats, he was influencing policy in the Middle East with these diplomats, because Norway has a heavy presence in the Middle East, in Asia and all those places. And he was literally the top diplomat. Mona Yul has just been forced to resign. And now the prime minister has been, one of the top diplomats has been stripped of any immunity and is being investigated for trafficking and for also trafficking of influence. And he was able to influence certain policies in a country because of the people that he hung out with. I mean, the Princess of Norway, Princess Mette-Marit, apparently was pregnant with one of his children.
Yeah, the plot thickens, and here's the last bit of the plot for this evening. This is a very good friend of Prince Andrew, who is now in intensive care after a plane crash, very suspiciously. I wonder how many more individuals we're going to see connected to people with very shady paths come to a sudden plane crash or food poisoning, or, you know, being hit by a taxi under a bridge in Paris. You never know what might happen. And I just want to remind everybody that, again, Matt and I were going to have a different conversation, and it's interesting to talk to individuals who aren't as deep. Remember, we're deep in it, side chat. We're deep in this. Matt's only skimmed the surface, and it's interesting to not be in an echo chamber. It's good to have someone push back who hasn't quite got to where we are yet, guys. And it's important that we have this
for Matt.
Yeah.
I have a question for Matt. Okay, you're asking, rightly so, to what end does Epstein want to infiltrate these places? Well, from your kind of living before, you were impersonating people for a financial gain or whatever, right? Can you imagine if you're at Epstein's level and you are an asset of some sort? Because he was literally very well embedded with presidents. And if you come from a country and they want to infiltrate the highest level of each organization of each country, and he can change policies, he can change literally the way the world sees something. What would you do if you were an Epstein, if you had that kind of power and influence and you're representing somebody? I mean, what would your end game be?
I mean, you know, what, world domination? I don't know. We were actually talking about
bring back the dinosaurs and take over the world. Do you know what I mean?
Well, Ron and I were talking, you know, earlier, and I made the I basically said, like, you know, you're and which is the same thing that you're saying, which is like, listen, like, the way these people think, like, it's hard for me to put, or for us to put ourselves in their place, because you and I don't think the way a guy that's got 5 billion or 8 billion or 2 billion, or you and I are not thinking along those lines, right? Like,
I'm hearing you.
Yeah, if you gave me $8 billion,
I'm with you.
I'm not going to think to myself,
they're not.
Let's build a fleet of starships and colonize Mars. Like,
yeah, I'm with you. But what I am versed in, what I am very versed in, through years of research and sadly what I've become an expert in, I can see predatory activities and the financial structure of transportation. And when you start scaling up crime, okay, you know yourself, if you're one guy with one girl on one corner and you scale that up continuously, that's what we're looking at here. This is a massive global syndicate, and the connections and the testimonies that we've had from individuals like Barbara. Also, I'm going to put Barbara's shows up on the screen here. Make sure you go and check this out. We expose Ron Burkle. We expose so much, and she exposes so much that she's seen when she was a model back then and was at massive socialite parties where Epstein and Andrew were brought in, and Naomi Campbell. It's so insane. And like I say, some of us are 6-7 years into this, and you're just a day, Matt. So I would strongly suggest that you look into, speak to some other individuals, podcasters that have been delving in, and you know, skip ahead a little bit by grabbing, you know, reliable sources for guiding you through it. Because when you get to the depths of when you get to the bottom of this, you will be horrified. Now, listen, everyone, I'm really sorry this evening. I am sitting here shaking, feeling like I'm going to not be very well. My stomach is going crazy for some reason. So I'm really, really sorry. We're going to have to cut the show an hour this evening. I usually go a lot longer. So that's 100% my apologies. But Matt, tell everybody what you've got coming up. You've got your own channel.
Nice
you write books.
Matt's
awesome, by the way. He's been thrown into the deep end this evening, by the way. I just want to point out, Matt's awesome. We like
Matt.
Your
channel and check it out. I'm gonna recommend.
Yeah, I have a true crime channel called Matthew Cox Inside True Crime. I interview probably 95% of the people I interview are former criminals. Let's hope. Some of them aren't. Some guys have already gone back to prison, but and law enforcement, you know, FBI, CIA, homicide detectives, whatever. So yeah, that's basically what I do. We're on TikTok, we're on everything, but the long form content is on YouTube. And Ron has given me an assignment to go and try and figure out if Epstein was making human jerky.
Right? I'm telling
So,
you, man.
Got to look
Go-
into that.
Go delve into it.
It is everywhere, though, Matt.
It is, yeah.
everywhere. Because, for example, I don't know if you know Chrissy Teigen. She's a horrible person. Well, and her husband, John Legend, you know, she's a nobody, and she ends up with somebody like John Legend. Meghan Markle is truly a nobody. She ends up marrying Harry, who's an idiot, but still very prominent family. So these women, and they were both on Deal or No Deal. And now John Legend sings for the King's Trust in New York. I mean, and Naomi Campbell, who's horrible, was named an ambassador for the Queen's Commonwealth Trust.
Do you know what, Matt? Imagine a control over all the powerful people's wives in certain areas of this, because it's very, very clever to manipulate a prince or a royal through their wife for a multitude of reasons. But look, guys, I'm so sorry, Matt. I'm really sorry that we're having to cut this off, guys, because I don't know. It's like, you know, when I've not done anything, but you know, when like you carb out and you start shaking and you've got that horrible sickness feeling, that's what I'm feeling just now. But I'll be back tomorrow, everybody. Thanks to Matt. Thanks to Paula. Make sure you subscribe to Matt. Make sure you subscribe to Paula. And we'll see you all again. Apologies, everybody, and apologies, Matt. Apologies, Paula, for cutting everybody off. I'm just, I need to go lie down. Awesome. Right. Also, before I go, Matt and I have had an interview before about his book about the conspiracy of what the hell's the guy's name, Matt?
Garth Brooks.
Brooks.
Being a possible serial killer.
Yeah, you need to go and watch that. If you want something a little darker to go watch, I'm about to post a link to my 3-part series with the Vampire of Paris. You want to, you know, convicted for unaliving, also consuming individuals. So if you're looking for something a little darker, I posted that. Matt, thank you for being here. You're freaking awesome. And we'll see you on the next one. Apologies again.